Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. Have you ever walked past a coin, glanced at its shine, and kept moving, not realizing that what you just saw could be worth a small fortune? What if I told you that a simple $50, a coin you might think is ordinary, could actually be a treasure hiding in plain sight? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Kennedy $50, specifically the special bicentennial edition minted between 1776 and 1976. This isn't just pocket change. This is a symbol of American heritage, a collector's dream, and for one particular variation, a jaw-dropping payday waiting to happen. Let's go back in time for a moment. It's 1976, and the United States is celebrating 2 centuries of independence. To commemorate this monumental event, the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial coins, including the quarter, the dollar, and yes, the Kennedy $50. But this wasn't just a regular issue. These coins were redesigned for this special occasion. On the obverse, they kept the familiar and dignified profile of President John F. Kennedy. But flip it over, and that's where the magic happens. Instead of the usual presidential seal, you'll find an image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very place where America's founding documents were debated and signed. It's a design that echoes freedom, history, and legacy. Now, you might be thinking, what makes this coin so special? After all, millions of these coins were minted. You're absolutely right. In fact, over 500 million Kennedy $50 were struck for the bicentennial. But here's the twist, not all of them are created equal. Some were made from copper nickel for general circulation. Others were struck in 40% silver, designed more for collectors than everyday transactions. And then, there are the rare variations. The hidden gems. The kind of coins that could turn a random find into an unbelievable windfall. Collectors look for specific details. A sharp strike, clean fields, no scratches, no wear. Some coins were never circulated at all and still carry that pristine, mirror-like finish known as proof. These are usually part of limited edition sets sold directly by the U.S. Mint. Others were minted in San Francisco, indicated by the tiny S mint mark. But the rarest of the rare are those that combine all of these attributes: perfect condition, high-grade silver content, and unique errors or varieties that make them truly one of a kind. Let's talk about what to look for. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy $50, inspect it closely. Is it struck in silver? Does it have a deep cameo finish where the raised design has a frosted look while the background is mirror-like? Are there any unusual markings, double dies, or off-center strikes? These rare characteristics are what can elevate a coin from a few dollars to thousands or more. Now, imagine stumbling upon one of these coins in a forgotten drawer or tucked away in a coin jar. You polish it gently, hold it up to the light, and realize you're looking at something extraordinary. It's not just the coin's appearance. It's the story it tells. A coin that passed through generations, that witnessed the ebb and flow of American history. A piece of metal that has survived decades, still carrying the spirit of freedom and remembrance. But here's the moment you've been waiting for. One specific Kennedy $50, a bicentennial 1776 to 1976 edition in nearly flawless condition, with rare minting characteristics, was recently appraised and sold for a staggering amount. This wasn't a coin buried in a museum. It wasn't in a high-security vault. It was a coin just like the one you or someone you know could be holding right now. The value. Hold your breath. That single coin was sold for $155,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 50-cent coin, worth over $150,000. That's the magic of numismatics. That's why collectors search, inspect, and study. Because sometimes, history rewards those who pay attention. So the next time you see a coin lying around, don't just toss it aside. Look at the date. Feel the weight. Examine the design. Because you might just be holding a piece of America's story, and maybe even a fortune in your very hands. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment if you've ever come across a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy $50. Who knows? You might just be the next person with a coin worth more than most cars on the road. Stay curious, stay sharp, and as always, happy hunting. Top 2. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it could be worth more than its face value? Not just a few dollars more, but enough to change your life? Believe it or not, there are coins floating around out there, maybe even in your own change jar, that could be hiding incredible value. Today, we're going to explore one such coin, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar. A coin many people see as ordinary, but beneath its surface lies the potential for something extraordinary. This is not just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of American history, a tribute to a fallen president, and in very rare cases, a valuable collector's prize. The Kennedy half dollar first entered circulation in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was created not just as currency, but as a memorial, a way for a grieving nation to honor a leader who inspired hope, youth, and progress. Since then, the Kennedy half dollar has become a fixture in American coinage. And while most people associate the most valuable coins with rare dates like 1964 or the bicentennial editions of 1976, there's one year that often goes unnoticed, 1971. Let's set the stage. The year is 1971. America is deep in the Vietnam War. The Apollo missions are winding down, and the country is undergoing massive cultural change. That same year, the U.S. Mint made a significant change to the Kennedy half dollar. Prior to 1971, some versions of the coin were made with 40% silver. But in 1971, that all stopped. The half dollar became a copper-nickel-clad coin. Silver was officially removed from regular issue circulation. So what makes the 1971 Kennedy half dollar special? Isn't it just another common coin? Well, yes and no. Most 1971 Kennedy half dollars are indeed quite common. Millions were minted, over 150 million, in fact. But hidden among those millions are rare varieties, minting errors, and exceptionally preserved pieces that transform an ordinary coin into a collector's jackpot. These are the coins that spark the interest of numismatists around the world. These are the coins worth more than you can imagine. One of the most valuable characteristics a coin can have is a mint error. In 1971, during the transition from silver to clad, a small number of Kennedy half dollars were mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from the previous year. These transitional errors are extremely rare and command serious money on the collector's market. Imagine a 1971 coin, but it's made of silver when it wasn't supposed to be. That's the kind of mistake collectors dream of finding. Another factor that increases value is condition. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can fetch high prices if they are in pristine, uncirculated, or proof condition. A coin graded at the highest levels, MS68 or above, is incredibly rare for 1971. Even slight scratches, wear, or discoloration can reduce a coin's grade. But a coin that has been perfectly preserved, with every detail sharp and every surface flawless, becomes a numismatic treasure. And then, there are the proof coins. These were not made for circulation. They were specially struck for collectors, with a polished finish and deep mirror-like fields. The 1971 proof Kennedy half dollars, especially those with errors, can be especially valuable, even more so if they're from the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. These proofs often feature strong details and are more carefully crafted than their circulated cousins. Collectors also look for double dies, off-center strikes, and other rare minting issues that can boost the value of a coin into the thousands. But the most fascinating part of this story isn't just about what could make a coin valuable. It's the fact that many of these rare 1971 Kennedy half dollars are still out there, in coin rolls, in old collections, in boxes passed down from grandparents, and sometimes even in circulation. The treasure hunt is very real, and the prize is beyond belief. So, what if you stumbled upon one of these rare coins? What if you had a 1971 Kennedy half dollar that was struck on a leftover silver planchet? Or a coin in nearly perfect mint condition, untouched for over 50 years? Well, one collector found exactly that. A 1971 Kennedy half dollar with a rare composition, perfect condition, and a certified high-grade rating. The value of that coin? Brace yourself. It was sold for $135,000. Yes, you heard correctly. A 50-cent coin, minted in 1971, became worth $135,000 to the right buyer. And it's not an isolated case. As more people begin to examine their collections and rediscover old coin stashes, more of these hidden treasures are being unearthed. Who knows? You might be the next lucky finder. So the next time you come across a Kennedy half dollar, especially from 1971, don't brush it off. Examine it closely. Look for that shine, that sound, that weight. You might just be holding more than a coin. You could be holding a piece of history, a piece of art, and a valuable fortune, all wrapped into one small, circular masterpiece. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to hit the like button, share it with fellow coin enthusiasts, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the world of coins and collectibles. And if you have a Kennedy half-dollar of your own, tell us about it in the comments. Your coin might be worth far more than you think. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your coins safe, and your curiosity alive. Top 3. There's something fascinating about coins. They may be small, often overlooked, but behind their metallic surface lies an entire world of history, legacy, and sometimes unexpected fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one such hidden gem, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary coin, just another piece of change you'd barely notice. But don't let its simplicity fool you. This coin holds secrets that could make it far more valuable than you'd ever imagine. The story of the Kennedy half-dollar begins in 1964, introduced just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was more than currency, it was a tribute, a symbol of a young president whose legacy still inspires millions. Americans embraced the coin, not just for spending, but for collecting, saving, and honoring. Over the years, it became an iconic part of U.S. coinage, a piece of American history in every pocket. Fast forward to 1972, a year of transformation and tension in the United States. The Vietnam War was still raging, Watergate was starting to cast its long shadow, and the nation was looking inward, trying to make sense of its identity. In the midst of all that, the U.S. Mint was continuing its production of the Kennedy half-dollar. Millions were made that year, most of them struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. On the surface, these coins seemed unremarkable. But hidden within that massive mintage are rare varieties, unexpected errors, and coins preserved in pristine condition that today are worth far more than their face value. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most 1972 Kennedy half-dollars were made with a copper-nickel clad composition. The days of silver half-dollars were behind us, officially phased out after 1970 for circulation coins. So, why do some 1972 half-dollars hold incredible value? The answer lies in the details, the kind that most people never take the time to look for. Among the regular issues, there are coins that were struck with rare minting errors. Some of the most desirable include double-die obverse coins, where the front of the coin appears doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These are rare, often hard to detect unless you know exactly what to look for. Another potential jackpot is the off-center strike, where the design is visibly shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. Then there are transitional errors, where coins were accidentally struck on wrong planchets, a rarity but not unheard of. Especially during the early 1970s when leftover blanks sometimes made their way into new production runs. One particularly fascinating variety to look out for is the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with a proof-like finish. Though proof coins were primarily struck at the San Francisco Mint for collectors, once in a while, circulation coins can exhibit nearly proof-like qualities due to early strikes or unique die polishing. If these coins are preserved well and authenticated by professional grading services, their value can increase dramatically. But perhaps the most important factor in determining a 1972 half-dollar's value is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A coin graded at MS 65 or above, meaning mint state, no wear, and excellent luster, is extremely rare, especially for coins that were never intended to be saved. These coins were passed from hand to hand, spent, lost, and forgotten. Finding one in flawless condition is like finding a diamond in a gravel pit. Now imagine this: a coin struck in 1972, flawless in every detail, graded at the highest level by PCGS or NGC, and possibly featuring a rare mint error or unique strike characteristic. You wouldn't think much of it at first glance. It looks like any other coin you've seen. But it's not. It's been verified, authenticated, and cherished by collectors as one of the rarest examples from that year. And that's where things take a shocking turn, because one such 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, rare in every sense of the word, in nearly perfect condition and featuring unique minting attributes, was recently sold in the collector's market for an absolutely stunning amount. So how much was it worth? It was valued and sold for $130,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin with a face value of just 50 cents, from a year most people wouldn't think twice about, turned out to be worth $130,000. That's the kind of story that turns casual hobbyists into passionate collectors. That's the kind of discovery that makes you want to check every coin in your drawer, your piggy bank, your old boxes tucked away in storage. Because the truth is, these rare finds are still out there. Not every valuable coin lives behind glass in a museum or buried in a collector's vault. Some are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes, maybe even yours, to uncover them. So if you happen to come across a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, don't just toss it in with the rest. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Feel the weight of the coin and imagine the journey it's taken. Because one day, what seems like a simple piece of change might just be your ticket to an unbelievable story and a life-changing surprise. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like the video, subscribe for more amazing coin tales, and drop a comment if you've ever come across an unusual coin or have a Kennedy half-dollar of your own. You never know. You might be holding the next great treasure. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes, real wealth is hiding in the smallest places. Top 4. We're talking about one of those coins that often goes unnoticed, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar. It might look like just another 50-cent piece, but beneath the surface lies the potential for historical significance, collector interest, and in rare cases, a staggering value. The Kennedy half-dollar holds a special place in American hearts. It first entered circulation in 1964, just a few months after the nation was shaken by the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. This coin became a way for the public to carry his legacy in their pockets, a small symbol of honor, remembrance, and national pride. Since then, the Kennedy half-dollar has become a lasting tribute, with each year of issue adding a new chapter to its story. When we talk about the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, we're looking at a coin that's now over 5 decades old. But unlike some of the earlier versions, this particular year has its own unique quirks and appeal. For starters, 1973 Kennedy half-dollars were not released for general circulation. That's right, these coins were only struck for collector sets, also known as mint sets and proof sets. So, unless someone broke open a set or a coin made its way into circulation by mistake, you wouldn't normally find one in your change. That immediately makes 1973 a little more exclusive. There were 3 primary versions minted in 1973, coins from the Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and special proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. The ones with the S mint mark are the proof versions, created with extra care and a mirror-like finish meant for collectors. These proof coins were never meant to be spent. They were handled with precision, struck multiple times for crisp details, and carefully packaged in special sets. That kind of controlled environment means some 1973 half-dollars are in remarkably preserved condition, and that matters a lot in the coin world. But condition isn't everything. What really elevates a coin from being just a nice collectible to an ultra-valuable rarity is a combination of factors: minting errors, striking anomalies, and overall scarcity. While millions of 1973 half-dollars were made, only a tiny fraction of them display rare features that make them truly unique. Among those are double die varieties, where parts of the design appear duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. Another type of valuable error includes off-center strikes, where the coin is visibly misaligned, or even planchet errors, where the coin was stamped on the wrong metal blank. These are the kinds of characteristics that turn a 50-cent coin into a sought-after prize among collectors. Imagine coming across a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar in nearly flawless condition, still shimmering as if it had just been struck yesterday. Imagine discovering that it wasn't just well-preserved, but that it also bore one of those rare errors that only a trained eye would spot. These combinations are extremely scarce, and it's that rarity which drives the value higher than most people would ever believe. What's especially fascinating about the 1973 issue is that it flies under the radar. People assume that older coins from the 1960s are more valuable simply because they're older or contain silver. But 1973 proves that it's not just about the date, it's about the details, the condition, the errors, and the story behind the coin. Coins from this year that were struck with unusual features or that remain in pristine condition are incredibly desirable in the collector's market. In fact, some have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction. Think about this: a coin that was never meant to be spent, that sat untouched in a collector's set, but through the years was discovered to be one of the finest examples in existence. It may have had a subtle but important error. It may have been graded at the highest level by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Combine rarity, condition, and collector demand, and you have a recipe for an incredible find. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the value point. One extraordinary 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, preserved in pristine condition with rare striking characteristics, was recently appraised and sold in a high-profile auction. This wasn't just a lucky coin. It was a true gem of American numismatics. Its final selling price? It was sold for $135,000. Yes, $135,000 for a coin most people might have never thought to look at twice. This isn't just a story about money. It's a story about history, about attention to detail, and about the magic of discovery. These coins are more than currency. They are miniature works of art, moments frozen in metal, and in some rare cases, they are keys to life-changing value. So, the next time you see a Kennedy half-dollar, especially one from 1973, take a moment. Look closely. Consider its history, examine its condition, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, you'll be holding something far more valuable than it seems. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most iconic coins, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow collectors or curious friends, and subscribe for more hidden treasures in the world of numismatics. And if you've ever come across a rare coin or have a 1973 half-dollar in your collection, drop a comment below. Your story could be the next big discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay observant, and keep hunting for history in the most unexpected places.